Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Town of Vesuvius regular open meeting of council, April the 27th, 2021, at 2 p.m. First, we need a resolution to exclude the public, and so that in accordance with Ministerial Order M192, the Town of Vesuvius regular open council meeting continues to be closed to the public due to the inability to meet physical distancing recommendations made under the Public Health Act in council chambers located at 8707 Main Street. And that to ensure openness, transparency, accessibility, and accountability, the Town of Vesuvius regular open council meetings will continue to be recorded, streamed, and published by the town's website, and that the regular open meetings be streamed on Eastlink's community channel. I have a motion, please, to accept the Councillor King, Councillor Rhodes, all in favor. Oh, Councillor Harvey's here now too. Good. Okay. Approval of the agenda and late items. We do have an item, a staff report number 8, and it would be on a grant application for UBCM, and that would be Miss McKay is going to talk to that one. So that would be the addition to this. Could we please have a motion to that the regular open agenda be approved as amended? Councillor Bennett, Councillor Rose, all in favor. Thank you very much. And adoption of some minutes. And that would be the regular open minutes of April the 13th, 2021. And the only thing that I asked Mrs. Hilton to change was instead of harvester, the weed harvester, it's the weed rototiller. And so at the last meeting, this was the red one that's out on the lake. And so it's easy to remember because red rototiller roots. And that's what happens. They take the roots out. In the summertime, we have the green one, and it is the harvester, and it gives a haircut. So that's how we remember. So the one out there right now is red, okay? Because it de-roots. And there's 2 of them. We're lucky. We have 2 there right now. Did you, who, Brian, go ahead. But I'm sorry, Councillor Harvey.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. With respect to the minutes, under staff reports, J, item 3, Legion Beach road improvements, second motion, it was Councillors Harvey and Rhodes that were opposed, as I recall.
Notice that. So is
No. Bennett.
No, this is back. I posted.
Oh, sorry. I misunderstood there at the time then.
yes, those you were the 2 that opposed it. Yes, Harvey and Bennett.
Oh.
Okay. All right. So could we have a motion, please, or a mover and a seconder that the regular open minutes be adopted with the one change with rototiller? Thank you. Did you get that?
Yes, I
too. Okay, thank you. All in favor? Thank you. No business arising from the minutes. And first up, we have a public and other hearings, third reading report from Miss McKay, please, on 39 Harbor Key Drive.
Thank you, Mayor McCordock. So this is actually for approval of development variance permit 21-01, and it's for Corey Dell and Beverly Duell, and they're looking to vary sections of the zoning bylaw 1085 and section 8.8.8.1 to reduce the rear yard setback from 6 meters to 4 meters. Council will recall that 2 weeks ago, you authorized the notification process and accepted the application. So the subject property is rectangular in shape with flat topography. The rear of the property is long and narrow and is as pictured in the aerial photograph that's on page 2 of my report in your package. The zoning bylaw states that the rear lot line setback shall be 6 meters. Variance to this section of the zoning bylaw is required in order to allow the construction of the new covered patio structure. So the applicant has provided the town with letters of support from neighboring property owners, and any other written submissions would be taken into consideration at this meeting. And I believe that none were else were received. Is that correct, Mrs. Wilson? So staff supports the requested variance as the proposed roof structure, patio roof structure will not be visible from the roadway and does not cause visual obstruction. And we did not hear of any people that did not support the proposal. So with respect to the implications in the community, in accordance with council policy on considering development variance permits, council provides an opportunity for members to provide written comments. Organizationally, of course, the organizational task next would be to ensure the development variance does not lapse and that the building permit aligns with the approved variance, and the permit's actually sitting in the outbox ready to issue. There are no impacts to the budget associated with this report. Significant dates, again, council received the application at their April 13th meeting. Notifications were sent out to properties within 60 meters and also hand delivered. Again, issuance of development permit, applicants has 2 years to substantially commence the project. Construction of the accessory building in the proposed location does not result in any adverse effects to the natural environment. And our recommendations are that option 1, that council authorizes issuance of development variance permit 21-01. Alternative option for council is that council denies issuance of the development variance permit. Thank you, Mayor McFarland.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll move option 1, council authorize the issuance of the development variance permit 21-01.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councilor Rhodes. Any concerns about this? I'm just happy to see that all the letters that were sent in are all in favor of this. So there was no issues. Okay. Pardon?
Awesome.
Yeah. So it's been moved and seconded that we go with option 1. All in favor. Thank you very much. That was carried. Thank you, Ms. McKay. Next is the Water District's 8 and 9 financial accounts. To report on expenditures from accounts payable for water councilors and council to receive for information purposes. So as of April the 27th, that would be in the amount of $23,761.41. And the options are for council to receive the Water District cash requirements as referenced. And number 2 would be to request additional information from staff.
Move number 1.
Thank you very much.
Second.
And you're seconding that, so
Second.
by water counselors. More phone calls, more emails. Marrera and Appleby, that we go with option 1. All in favor? Thank you very much, everybody. And next is the Okanagan Basin Water Board report. Thank you, Councilor Marrera. It was nice to see you.
I gotta go to the doctor's office.
Okay. So the Okanagan Basin Water Board had its last meeting on April the 9th. And just a couple of the highlights. The Okanagan Source Water Protection Paper was presented by Renee Clark, who was a member of the OBWB Water Stewardship Council. And they received $50,000 through the province's Healthy Watershed Initiative to work on the source protection toolkit for local governments. So all of these things are very helpful for people dealing with any form of water. So the board celebrates 15 years of water grant program, and this year there were 16 grants given out to the amount of $350,000. And actually, the board has now provided 300 grants to Okanagan nonprofits, First Nations, local government, and irrigation districts worth $5.1 million in the 15 years. So that's pretty amazing. Several of them were in the RDOS area. So there's some in Penticton and Parramatta and so on. And it was April the 8th news release where all that information was put forward. And Oh, and the art gallery, I think I already mentioned this, Our Lakes Art Show was really interesting, but I see that it just ended, so it ended on the 24th of April. And so we look forward to another art gallery show in there. So that's, those are the main things that we had. The next meeting that I have with Okanagan Basin Water Board is not only our regular meeting, which happens at the beginning of every month, but is the Water Stewardship Council meeting as well as ours. Water Stewardship Council is sort of a technical advisory body to Okanagan Basin Water Board. And they all are highly technical people that are on that. So could I please have anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them, but could I please have a motion to accept the and file the correspondence? Thank you, Councilor Rhodes, Councilor King, all in favor. Thank you. The curling club request accessible washrooms. Mr. Davis, would you like to fill us in on this, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Osoyoos Curling Club sent a funding request to the Accessibility and Age Friendly Committee to assist in completing the accessible washroom upgrades. They applied for a community grant for 2 separate items, the shed repair and accessible washrooms, and was awarded $2,000 in total. The Curling Club application indicated that they were applying for $4,725 for both projects, which was $465 for the shed and $4,260 for the accessible washrooms. In the correspondence received, they requested $2,000 to complete the accessible upgrades. This item was brought to the Accessibility and Age Friendly Committee for discussion, and the committee unanimously agreed that they would support the project and agreed that $2,000 could be used from the accessibility budget. Since the committee is advisory, staff is bringing to council for approval. The accessible budget for 2021 is set at $56,000. Normally this budget is $30,000, but this year council added another $26,000 due to extra funding that could not be used by operational services. The extra funding will only be for this year. The community grant program also had sufficient funding to cover this request. There are a number of grants that have not been utilized and are dependent upon COVID-19 restrictions. If all of the approved grants were used, the total balance remaining would still be $2,300. In terms of implications for the community, improvements to facilities that are required for accessible needs, a budget of $2,000. They would like to get this done ASAP. And sustainability, enhancing facilities to sustain and improve accessibility for the future. So the options before council, number 1, for council to approve the financial request of $2,000 from the 2021 accessibility and age friendly budget to complete the accessibility upgrades at the Osoyoos Curling Club. Option 2, for council to approve the financial request of $2,000 from the remaining funds of the community grant program to complete the accessibility upgrades at the Curling Club. And option 3, for council not to approve any financial contribution at this time. And the recommendation from the committee is option number 1. The accessibility request fits the mandate of the committee, and utilizing the accessibility budget would be appropriate.
Thank you very much, Mr. Davis. I had a question. Why was there an extra $26,000 left over, extra funding that could not be used by operational services? Is this, like, I wasn't sure, does this have something to do with COVID, restrictions that have been put in?
I don't think so. It was a project during budget discussions that operational services couldn't complete for this year. So at the time, it was added to the accessibility budget.
Okay. Thank you.
To do with road design, I think maybe Kingfisher put on hold because of treatment plant, Bagel and Jack Shaw.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So council reallocated those funds.
All right, so would anybody like to make a motion based on one of the options? Councilor Rhodes.
Thank you, Member Cardoff. We'll make a motion based on the staff recommended option number 1.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for that? Counselor Bennett, thank you. Anyone else have any concerns about, or any questions? Okay, so we will ask for the vote then. All in favor of option 1? Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Are you going to, yes, you're going to deal with the next one, the Desert Sunrise Marina lease?
Yep, thank you very much, Madam Mayor, Council. At the April 13th meeting of council, staff presented a report for an intent to lease for the Desert Sunrise Marina. The subject property is legally described as a portion of Park Block 775, Plan A1057, DL 24500S, SDYD, and Lot 763, DL 2450S, Plan 2449, SDYD. Council approved the intent to lease and staff is bringing the draft lease forward for approval. SunWest Investment Corporation were the highest ranking applicant of the RFP. The term of the lease is for 3 years with an option to renew for an additional 2 years. Based on the proposal, the applicant has agreed to pay the town $8,000 a year to operate the marina. They will also provide general liability insurance of not less than $5 million. Staff placed 2 consecutive ads in the local newspaper on April 14th and April 21st on the town website and at the local public posting place in the town office, and the draft lease is attached. In terms of implications for the community, having an experienced operator on site, organizational development of new lease agreement, budget, annual revenue of $8,000 for a 3-year term starting in 2021. Significant dates, May 15th will be the official first day, and sustainability not applicable. In terms of options before council, option number 1, for council to authorize and approve the signatories to sign the lease between the town of Vesuvius and SunWest Investment Corporation to utilize a portion of Park Block 775, Plan A1057, DL 2450S, SDYD, and Lot 763, DL 2450S, Plan 2449, SDYD, for a 3-year lease commencing May 15th, 2021, and ending on September 15th, 2023, at the rate of $8,000 a year, with an option to renew for an additional 2 years. Option number 2, for council to direct staff to make changes to this lease and bring back at a later time. And option 3, for council not to approve the lease at this time. And the recommendation before council is option number 1.
Thank you very much. Counselor Bennett,
Thank you. I move option number 1.
thank you very much. Counselor King is seconding that. Any other concerns? We've gone through this a couple of times, so I think we're comfortable with agreeing to this. All in favor of option 1? Counselor Harvey, yeah. Okay, that's that was passed. Thank you very much, Mr. Davis. And next we have the contract award for the aerated lagoon rag removal. Mr. Brownstein.
Thank you, Your Worship. Council has a staff report before them in regards to the contract award for aerated lagoon rag removal. We put up the tender requests for the removal for the following works, which was to drain lagoon number 1 and desludge, to lift and derag 44 aeration diffusers located in aeration lagoon number 2, and 2 further modifications to the site in 2021 to lift and derag 44 aeration diffusers located in lagoon number 2, and dispose of all waste at the landfill. So we'll be going in originally doing cell 1, removing the rags, removing all of the sludge, everything else in cell 1, bringing cell 1 back online, and then going and lifting the aerators in cell 2, deragging them, putting them back down, coming back in at a later point in the same year, lifting them again, deragging them and putting them back down. Trying to get to the point where they're working efficiently, effectively, and hopefully now that the screens are online with the new main Westford pump station, this will now turn into a 25-year adventure instead of an 30-year adventure. So staff is recommending the council order the contract to CHB Services in the amount of $225,000, $907.50, and the staff and signatories be authorized to enter into contract for the work specified in the tender documents.
Thank you very much. I have two questions. One, is there a timeline on this? Do we have any idea when it might happen and how long it will take?
Phase one, which would be drain cell one, and it will be done before, I'm hoping June of this year. Correct. And then the other phases will be again further as along, so probably fall again, we'll pull them again to clean them.
Does it make any difference that we might have more people here in the summertime?
No.
That doesn't.
That is effective.
And might this alleviate some of the smell?
It may assist on some of the smell issues, I'm not gonna say it's alleviate them.
Go ahead, Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Previously, when we've done this, we've moved the sludge into those giant sausages that we have at the high school. Has that process been changed?
Not, yeah, this time around, we're just gonna bring in a common back truck and just back them and dry. It's not, the volume shouldn't be there in order to do the desludging as we normally do. Seeing the fact this is well under budget, I may look at moving those desludging bags that are currently sitting in the test orchard this year as well. So I'll probably include that as part of the contract.
So it's going to go directly from the pond to the landfill?
And you said it's under budget. Could you refresh my memory? What was the?
The initial budget for this program was $400,000.
Okay, so it did come in under budget. Did anyone else have a question or concern? Okay, we need a motion then. We don't have a motion, do we? Is there somebody who would like to? I assume it would be the recommended motion, because we don't have a choice here.
That is correct, Your Worship.
Yes.
Okay, Councillor Bennett, Councillor Rhodes, all in favor. Thank you very much. And you can stay where you are, Mr. Brownstein, because this is a grant application for the Community Emergency Preparedness Fund.
Thank you, Your Worship. Council resolution is required to support a grant application for the Community Emergency Preparedness Fund under the 2021 Emergency Operations Centers and Training Stream. This is in cooperation with the RDOS. They have already actually applied for the grant funding. They just need a council resolution supporting the grant application, as well as a statement from the town saying that they can, what's the appropriate term, to receive and manage the grant funding for the town as part of this application process. Staff is fully supportive of this, and we just need council's recommendations to move forward with supporting this as well, and get this grant application process moving forward for the RDOS.
So it has been brought up at the RDOS meetings as well, so other areas are also involved in this. Correct? Okay, go ahead, Councilor Rhodes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I will make that motion.
Now,
I'm sure what word it
Yeah.
is. So.
Mrs. Hilson, does this have to be, is there more than one motion here, or does it all combine? So we recommend the RDOS application and
It would start with that council supports.
That council supports the submission of a grant application to the Community Emergency Preparedness Fund under the 2021 Emergency Operations Center and Training Stream through the RDOS, and that the RDOS receive and manage the grant funding on behalf of the town.
okay, Councilor Rhodes is making the motion. Councilor Bennett is seconding that. All in favor? Thank you very much. And next is the Vesuvius Traditional Archery School license to use. Is that you, Mrs. Hilton?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Thank you.
The town has granted the Vesuvius Traditional Archery School license to use for the lands located at 11600 Strawberry Creek Road since 2013. Initially, the term was set for 1 year, and then in 2015, council granted a 3-year term ending in 2017. After 2017, council gave a 1-year term to allow for a change to the zoning bylaw to allow outdoor recreation as a permitted use in the M1 General Industrial Zone. The Vesuvius Traditional Archery School is requesting the use of the land at 11600 Strawberry Creek Road. At the regular open meeting of February 16, 2015, council passed the following resolution. Moved by Councillor Campbell and seconded by Councillor King, and resolved that a license to use agreement with the Surrey's Traditional Archery School for the use of the lands at 11600 Starry Creek Road for a 3-year term from 2015 to 2017 be approved, and that the signatories be authorized to sign. And further, that staff provide a report on possible future use or zoning changes to the property, and that should an industrial use for the lands become apparent, the license to use may be terminated prior to the identified 3-year term, and that reasonable notice will be provided. That motion is carried. At the regular open meeting of April 13, 2021, council adopted zoning amendment bylaw 1085-133, which added outdoor recreation as permitted use in the M1 general industrial zone. In consultation with the Director of Planning and Development Services, it is being suggested that a 3-year term be provided to the Surrey's Traditional Archery School from January 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2023. The town is currently undergoing an OCP review, and following that will be a zoning bylaw update. The Director of Planning and Development Services would like to ensure that the lands would be available for industrial expansion in the future. All aspects of the previous agreement remain the same, except for a reduction of the fee from $250 to $150. And the termination has been modified to allow the town to provide notice that the lands are used for other purposes that would be better suited for the community. Implications to the community and outdoor recreation activity that is provided to members of our community, organizationally monitoring the agreement, significant dates. The Surrey's Traditional Archery School has been waiting for the zoning update to be completed so they could continue in compliance with the outdoor archery, and sustainability continuation of an established activity. So options before council is that council approves a license to use agreement with the Surrey's Traditional Archery School for the use of the lands at 11600 Strawberry Creek Road for a 3-year term, January 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2023, and that the town signatories be authorized to sign. That council return the license to use agreement with the Surrey's Traditional Archery School to staff for modification, or 3, that the Surrey's Traditional Archery School license to use agreement be denied. And staff are recommending option 1, as the Surrey's Traditional Archery School has been using the lands for an established period of time with no issue. There are no plans to expand the industrial park within the next few years, and a longer lease will allow more stability for the group.
Thank you very much. This group is very well managed by a top-notch archery expert. So we are very fortunate to have his ability to take on this group and train them, because several of them have done extremely well in world events, I think. Yeah, so we're very happy that they're able to continue. So council, would somebody like to move a motion, please? One of them. Councillor Rhodes.
I think we're up to move the staff recommended option number 1.
Thank you. Is there a second for that? Councillor King. Any other concerns? Okay, all in favor of motion 1? Thank you very much. That's carried. And next we will go on to the Mrs. Hilson, you again, the Surrey's Model Aviation Club Airport.
So Surrey's Model Aviation Club, OMAC, formed by Cowboy Roland, has approached staff about using the airport land similar to Penticton Model Aviation Club, PenMAC. Staff have attached the request from OMAC for council's consideration in approving the license use agreement with OMAC. The Canadian aviation regulation applies to remotely piloted aircraft systems, which include drones and model aircrafts. Any drones must be registered that weigh between 250 grams and 25 kgs. Furthermore, to fly a drone within the weight parameter above, the pilot must obtain a basic or advanced pilot certificate. There is an exemption from the requirements set out by the Canadian Aviation for members of the Model Aeronautics Association of Canada. OMAC belongs to the Model Aeronautics Association of Canada, and so the exemption would apply to them. Council approved the license use of PenMAC on January 26th of this year, which allowed them to use the airport for 7 days a week. Staff contacted their representatives to work together to ensure that both user groups could use the lands without conflict. PenMAC has identified that their club will use the airport lands on Sunday, Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, which would allow OMAC to use the airport on Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. The difference between OMAC and PennMAC agreements are the dates that Wine Country Racing is using the airport is identified in the agreement, and OMAC is not permitted to use the lands on those dates. There's a provision that the town can provide OMAC with 48 hours notice that they cannot use the lands on their specified date. This has been put in place as other uses are used for the airport, such as filming movies and other events that may occur. With the Osoyoos Airport Development Society receiving the grant for upgrades to the airport, staff may be required to notify OMAC that they will be unable to use the airport if and when upgrades occur. The Operational Services Department has been made contact for the agreement rather than the Community Services Department. And currently, the town is not charging user groups to use the airport. However, with the increasing number of requests to use the airport lands for different purposes and staff time to prepare agreements and coordinate uses, staff will be suggesting that in 2022, a charge be made for the use of the airport to recover coordination and approval costs. So implications to the community. The club provides a recreation opportunity for local people and brings other people to town to participate in the activities. Organizationally, staff time and monitoring the contract and filing no terms with NAV Canada. And options before council are that council approved the agreement with Osoyoos Model Aviation Club for the use of the Osoyoos Airport until December 31st of 2021, and that the signatories for the town be authorized to sign the agreement. 2, that staff make changes to the agreement and return to council for further review. Or 3, that council not approve the agreement with Osoyoos Model Aviation Club for the use of the Osoyoos Airport.
My assumption is that your recommendation would
Yes.
be number 1.
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor King?
Yeah, thank you. I'll move option 1. And I have a question.
Go ahead. Councillor Rhodes is seconding that. Go
So
ahead.
would that mean in the fall, before the year end, you'll be coming up with a new policy to look at the lands use for future, like 222?
Yes.
Thank you.
And I had oh no, I just had a comment. I just wanted to say thank you to Mrs. Hilton for finding a way to cooperate and allow both users to use it and for them to agree to the 3 days and 4 days. And thank you very much for doing that. Go ahead.
Your worship, I just had a question as a result of that, that I wished I'd thought of earlier. Do you have a letter on file from PennMAC which commits to the reduction in the days of use?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so we don't need to do a modification agreement with them then?
No. I don't.
Yeah, okay, perfect, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Go ahead.
I know this is kind of going forward from now on, or like to the end of the year, but normally would it be a date kind of from the January or February through to the end of the year, like we sort of have a summer schedule or just open for the whole year?
They're open for the intense.
Yeah, no, they've been running lots up there. 6 feet wide. They're beautiful lots.
Okay, so we've had it moved and seconded.
Yes.
We haven't taken a vote yet. Okay, so all in favor of option 1? Councillor Harvey? Okay, thank you. That's carried. Next is the general net payroll and Sun Bowl Arena financial accounts. And this is to report on expenditures from accounts payable and payroll information for council to receive for information purposes. So the general Sun Bowl Arena cash requirements and net payroll accounts to April the 27th have the following balances. General cash requirements, $840,629.05. And the Sun Bowl cash requirements of $7,827.17. And net payroll accounts of $77,362.38. So options are for council to receive the general cash requirements, Sun Bowl cash requirements, and net payroll accounts as referenced above for information purposes. And option 2 is to request additional information from staff. I'd like to choose one of those options, please. Councillor Rhodes.
Option number 1.
Thank you very much. Is there a seconder? Councillor Bennett. Oh, you had a question? Go ahead, please.
Cash requirements seem extraordinarily high in this time. I'm just wondering if there's an explanation for it.
Right person is
I
here
had
to
a
answer
feeling.
that question.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mr. Zackel.
Thank you. So, one of the largest, ones on here for this go round was TwinCon. TwinCon Enterprises, which is their water twinning and I believe our lift station projects, and 526,600 was their bills. We had Revenue Canada, which was 71,000. We had our municipal pension fund was 37,000. So they started adding up really quickly. Those are the largest ones that are in there. Whistle Waste Solutions, another 38,800 for our landfill operations.
Does that answer your question?
It does, just for the public, the TwinCom is the water twinning project.
Correct.
South.
They're also doing the
They're doing the pump station and
they're
the.
doing Vedette Drive.
Okay, so there's 3 capital projects within town that they're doing.
Just that, we sit here and we know all about it, sometimes the public should be made aware of that.
Thank you. Have we had that motion passed?
No, we didn't move in second.
We have had it moved and seconded?
Yeah.
Okay, good, I thought so. All right, all in favor? Thank you very much. And now we have a report from Ms. McKay. Is she here or is somebody else going to give? Oh, there she is. Ms. McKay.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. So this report before you today is in regards to a request for a resolution in support of a grant application to UBCM for a local government development approvals program. So the Union of BC Municipalities is accepting applications to local government development approvals program. So of course, the intent of the program is to support the implementation of established best practices and to test innovative approaches to improve development approval processes while meeting local government planning and policy objectives. So the program can provide up to a maximum 100% of the costs eligible to a suggested maximum of $500,000. And there is a link in your report to the entire program if you're interested in having a deeper dive into it. So the development approvals process refers to all operational steps and decision-making in relation to local government consideration of approving development from pre-application to issuance of the building permit phase. So the intent of the development approvals program is to support the implementation of established best practices and innovative approaches. So again, this approval program is not intended to support projects which are focused on updates as a result of provincial legislative changes. So for example, eligible projects would be new activities or represents new phases of an existing project capable of completion by the applicant within 2 years of the grant approval process, and projects that are dependent on external partnerships where we can provide evidence that external partners are willing to participate. So we're looking at additional funds to support our land use procedures bylaw update, our zoning bylaw update, and applicant outreach program, which is set materials like communication materials like pamphlets and handouts and procedural flowcharts to help people that are making applications to more easily understand the process. Internal procedures programs, which are also procedures manuals in case, which are really beneficial when you have changes in staff, checklists for staff, and also for the applicant submission requirements. We're also looking at $8,000 for a council workshop. So this would be to discuss council's authority in the various development application review processes. And this would be particularly useful if this comes online after the 2022 election, for example. Also, we're looking at updates to the subdivision and development servicing bylaw, which would mean reviewing and updating the sections that are not aligned with current planning processes, and also the processes that will be in our new land use procedures bylaw, and also to bring all those sections into compliance with current legislation, pardon me. So implications for the community benefits, of course, from clearly outlined procedures, along with handouts and pamphlets with step-by-step processes for the various applications that we handle every day. Organizationally, staff in the department will administer the grant. There's no impacts to the town's budget associated with this program, other than those funds that were already committed by council. And of course, the application for grant funding must be submitted by May 7th, which is why it's a late item. And thank you for your consideration of this late item. And of course, sustainability efficient development review processes can help reduce staff time to process the applications. The options before council are: one, that council supports the attached application to the Union of BC Municipalities Local Government Development Approvals Planning Program for the proposed activities and willingness to provide overall grant management, or option two, that council directs staff not to proceed with the application process. And of course, we're recommending option one. Thank you, Mayor McCordoff.
Thank you very much, Ms. McKay, for providing this today. Any questions or anybody want to make? Would you
Yeah, I'll move option one, that we apply for the funding from UBCM.
Councilor Bennett, you're seconding that. Anybody have any questions of Ms. McKay? Go ahead.
What happens, Ms. McKay, if we only get, like we did last time, and say we only get a $60,000 grant?
That's a very good question. Thank you, Councillor Myers. So we would probably take the most prominent things that we need to get done first, and that would probably be the land use procedures bylaw and of course the zoning bylaw update. I would also suggest that the applicant outreach and the internal procedures program. So the first 4 items on there is probably what we would look for. But if we were to receive only a portion of this monies, then I would come forward with a report to council, making recommendations and look for input on the way that council best advises that we spend the monies.
Okay, yeah, go. You're okay. Councilor Harvey.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I notice on the report that the program costs are 194K and the total request is 124 using a town contribution of 70,000. Is that in our budget for 2021, that amount anywhere?
Thank you, Councillor Harvey. The 50,000 is in for 2021 and the 20,000 is in for 2022 for the land use procedures bylaw.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anybody, we didn't make a motion yet? No.
Oh, yes, Councillor
Somebody
Kane,
like-
and seconded by Councillor Bennett.
So you see, we've had so many motions today, I can't keep track. It's been moved. Go ahead.
Yeah, Ms. McKay, when you say in kind, isn't that usually not really cash, it's staff time?
That's correct.
So when you mention you have a budget of 20 and 50, that's like sort of towards staff time then?
No, that's an actual budgeted amount in your, to participate in the program, to work on these particular activities.
I guess I'm just playing on words. When I see in kind, I feel like it's like we're giving it somehow free.
No, that's actually budgeted funds. That's just the way we describe it when we make application to the province for this program.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I guess a clear way would have been to say that that's what we're providing, and that is a clear way we've identified it in the actual application.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been moved and seconded that we go with option one. All in favor? Thank you very much. That's carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next, Mr. Zacco, you're gonna talk to us about tax rate.
Thank you, Mayor McCarroll. So before council is tax rates bylaw 1372/2021. This is to update the tax rates bylaw for 2021 with the following changes. Due date changing from September 30th to July 2nd. Late payment penalty, 5% applied July 3rd and a further 5% applied September 1st on outstanding balances. The 2021 Sue's tax rates bylaw is in line with the 5-year financial plan and includes a 2.4% increase in property taxes. This is an increase of $62,873 in tax-based revenue with new construction property taxation of $16,788. These numbers have been discussed thoroughly with council and are included in the town's 5-year financial plan bylaw that was adopted on March 23rd. In addition, on the March 23rd committee, the whole meeting of council, the property tax due date for 2021 was discussed with council, passing a resolution to make the due date July 2nd. With the late payment penalties being 5% for July 3rd and 5% for September 1st. Local governments are still operating under the authority of the Emergency Program Order M192. And as such, financial plan bylaws and tax rates bylaws, council may do 3 readings and adopt in the same day. The budget for municipal portions of tax requisitions are municipal, $2,682,576. General debt, $30,500. Fire protection, $511,835. Fire hall debt, $178,964. And policing, $1,056,618. The town of Macias is also responsible for collecting and remitting taxes for other taxing authorities, including the following. School, $3,424,063. This is our 2020 numbers, because we haven't received, we usually receive the updated amounts from the ministry around May 10th. For hospital, $524,504. The RDOS, $902,259. Okanagan Regional Library, $264,777. EC Assessment Authority, $90,355. And Municipal Finance Authority, $418. So an average single-family resident will pay $39.93 in increased property taxes, which is a 1.68% overall increase. And including user fees, brings it to a grand total of $95.38 annually for a 3.2 or 0.2% increase. The average single-family resident. Tax rates bylaws must be adopted by May 14th as per section 197(1) of the Community Charter. Implications under community, continued operation and enhancements of the municipality. Under organizational, there's nothing to report. Under budget, the Osuis tax rates bylaw is in line with the 5-year financial plan bylaw. Significant dates, tax rates needs to be adopted no later than May 14th. Sustainability, establishing tax rates bylaw to ensure funds available and the financial sustainability of the town. And options for council. Option 1, to give first readings to tax rates bylaw 1372/2021. Option 2, to adopt tax rates bylaw 1372/2021. Option 3, to make further changes and bring tax rates bylaw 1372/2021 back to the next meeting of council. And the recommendation before council is option 1 and then option number 2.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zach. Council,
Move option number 1, get the first 3 readings.
thank you. Is there a seconder for that? Councilor Bennett. Any questions? All right, all in favor? Councilor Harvey?
Yeah, I'm going to abstain.
Okay, thank you. So, all right, thank you very much. That's carried. And we are now looking to, for option 2 as well, that the tax rates bylaw be adopted. Councilor Rhodes? Seconder, Councilor King? Oh, he just put up his hand, so I have to just put his name in. Any concerns, questions? All in favor of option 2? Thank you very much. Any not abstaining, but any against? No. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Zackel.
Thank you, council.
Okay. And next we have. Oh, the age friendly. Yes, the, we have 2 meetings. No, just one this time. This is the age-friendly, accessibility and age-friendly committee meetings of April the 8th, 2021. And we're looking for any questions and then receive it as information. Councilor King, did you have anything to report on this? Like we were at the meeting.
Yeah, I was at the meeting. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I guess just looking through it again, I'll just mention the excitement of trying to bring OIB, the provincial parks and the town together to possibly build a pier down at Paynes Point. And also there's opportunity moving forward for Mr. David Community Service to write for a couple smaller grants to support some of the initiatives.
Just reading through this, it kind of looked like you have some interesting things on your agenda at these meetings.
There
And
is.
some things are not things that I would have thought about. And so, you know, I mean, it's good to have people on there that do think about these things because they're obviously important. Okay, so are you moving that
Yeah.
we accept this as information? Councilor Rhodes is seconding that. All in favor? Thank you very much. And now, CAO, Cheryl, give us a report.
Your worship, I'll keep it brief. I know
I'll
you're
sit
No,
back
I-
and relax.
to wrap this meeting.
Adding things as we go.
No, just perfecting things, your worship.
Okay, good. Go ahead. Thank you.
For myself, been doing a little bit of work, tidying up the town hall space needs assessment and pre-design work prior to the presentation to council. The rest of the staff attended also a meeting with you. The most recent draft of that report, and it's just about complete. Next stage is to present to council. I'd like to note that it's not intended to be, it's more of a technical exercise as opposed to a community engagement. If council were to decide at some point it wanted to go forward with one of the two options for a new build, there'd be a different process to engage the community around what this might look like and how consent might be given for the debt necessary to build a new town hall if that were a decision that was made. I just want to make that point. We're happy to welcome a new staff member, Matt Sanders, who commenced employment at the beginning of last week as our executive assistant communications coordinator. He'll work with the mayor and I and the other operating departments, get town messages out, helping us with some of our technological challenges. He brings an interesting skill set that I know will serve our organization, our community well. Your worship, happy to announce that we have a new fire chief, starting with the town of Vesuvius on the 7th of June. A fellow by the name of Corey Kortmeyer, who's coming to us from the district of Elkford, where he served as the fire chief for the last, I would guess, 8 or 9 years, if I remember correctly. So we're really excited to have him join us and carry on the good work that the fire rescue department does. Community services, as council knows, there's an immunization clinic, Interior Health, at the Sonora Center. Dates and availabilities of vaccine has been subject to some change. Currently, it's 2 days a week, Mondays and Wednesdays, and folks should get information from the Interior Health website as to how to sign up to get an appointment for an immunization. Mr. Davis's report notes that the West Bench Dog Park Committee had a meeting and then there was a process of wrapping up, is what it says. But I understand that that group has continued passion and ideas for dog parks in the town of Vesuvius. And they may well come forward to council and recommend that the terms of reference be changed. That they take on perhaps a slightly broader mandate or more different types of things, because it really was intended to be a task force to get the West Bench Dog Park built and operational. It's basically there. There's a gazebo to be built, I think, but they've still got an interest, and I encourage them to come forward if they want to, like you. I appreciate the input of other voices into community matters. So you probably see that in the near future. Provincial health orders, travel restrictions continue to occupy time, continue to challenge the provision of community services. We are having yoga classes. They have to be held outside now. As Mr. Davis in his quarterly report told earlier, bit of a contraction in the availability of community programming due to COVID restrictions. We're doing the best we can to keep activities in play for residents. There's a process, and the town has recognized community volunteers, and Mayor, I understand you'll speak about that later in your report. Congratulations to all of the nominees and to the winners.
Deputy Corporate Officer gave a quarterly report as well, and as council knows, she's been very busy with HR, personnel matters. Reported on the first quarter of the year. April's been busy as well with job postings going out for seasonal park ambassador, seasonal bylaw officer, for seasonal parks employees, for community programmers and community program leaders, I think. Quite a whack of job postings and vetting of applications and interviewing, all of that, taking up a good amount of the time. You saw both the agreements for the Soyuz Model Aviation Club and the traditional archery school today as well, among other things. Financial services, rural water and sewer bills have been mailed out. The audit is nearing completion. The audit will be presented to council on May the 11th. He's been processing some FOI requests as being the corporate officer. The fire department, 25 of our members attended the live fire training center in Penticton and did some training there. Probably 50% of our fire rescue personnel had their COVID-19 vaccine. In some respects, those folks have been prioritized as essential service workers. It often consists of prioritization consists getting a call at the end of the day when there's a vaccine clinic and say, we've got some extra doses, got anybody who wants to get a shot? And so we get a hold of them and they rush down there. Council knows we've ordered the rapid response vehicle for the fire department. Fire department has taken over responsibility for fire inspections in the town from the planning department, where it was done by our chief building inspector, who is also a local assistant, still is to the fire commissioner for that service. They had 5 new recruits complete their probation period and they've been issued their uniforms. In the OCP world, we had a meeting last week, staff and council only, to look at the first full draft of the OCP. That'll go out to the community soon. And we're going to try our best to invite comments and input and get knowledge known in this world where we can't have the public attend a meeting in person. Lots of development inquiries, as you all know. There's lots of development interest in our community. Food vendors are getting lined up for the 2021 season, which is interesting because our restaurants are challenged with takeout and outdoor dining as well. And so we're doing what we can to assist them to make arrangements as well to continue to operate. Kind of concerned that those restrictions last until after the May long weekend, and certainly hope that we can get back to more normal after that for the sake of our businesses. While has been doing what they do, dealing with unsightly properties, RVs, parking, and camping on the streets, and that large dogs. Building permits in April to date, when this report was prepared. Building permit values for April was $8,736,000, bringing the year-to-date total to $13,763,000. So things are looking really positive. That's just the first couple of phases. The biggest ones in there are the Peanut Lake developments, townhomes being built there. Operational services continue to transition to spring and summer operations. Agricultural irrigation systems came online. Been working on water quality improvements, testing, assurance programs, getting parks ready for the busy season, pruning and vegetation and weed control. Very large capital list in operational services. I'll include that in my report rather than repeat it now. And we continue with the design for a new scale and the scale house office building out at the Soyuz Cemetery.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chabot. Could we please have a motion to accept the CAO report that it be received? Councillor King, Councillor Bennett. All in favor? Thank you. And now council reports. Councillor King.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll pass at this time. The accessibility age training minutes were attached and people can see what's been going on.
Thank you. Councillor Bennett. can't believe it. You were just telling me about the 10 meetings that you had lined up.
You got a busy schedule, so.
Counselor Harvey,
Yeah, I have no report. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
thank you. Counselor Rhodes.
Thank you to CAO Chabot for making the announcement about the dog park. You did it way better than I did in far less time.
Okay, so a couple of things that I have. One is that it was volunteer week last week. And you will see that in the Times Chronicle, there is a wonderful two-page spread that Sarah Dynison has put in. What happened was the 2019 volunteer awards were started last year, and then because of COVID, we didn't go anywhere with it. So this year it was sent out again, and so included in this paper are both the winners for 2019 and 2020. The best volunteer project for 2019 was the Canada Day fireworks. And they're still collecting money, and we're certainly hoping that probably not this year, but next year we'll be back to having fireworks. So that was thank you to the fireworks. They were the winner of the 2019 Best Volunteer Project. And the winner of the best community group, and there were a few for last year, but the winner was the Osoyoos Concert Series. And this was a small volunteer group in our community who probably since 1980, I think they put on concerts, 4 of them a year, up at our theater up at the school, and they were absolutely amazing. And so we are very happy to honor them. They they promoted Canada arts, culture, performers, and it was just a treat to attend. I always attended, and I missed them. So that's unfortunate, but we wanted to honor them for the outstanding work they did. The 2020, the winning project award was the new building project at the Osoyoos District Museum and Archives. So we're very happy to have them continue to do the great work, and they're hoping to open up, I believe, a soft opening in June. So we look forward to that. And the outstanding community group for 2020, and there was a whole bunch of them. Let me see, the winner was the Pioneer Walkway Volunteers. And this is a group of dedicated gardeners, I guess, but they go down to the Pioneer Walkway and every Monday, and they pull out weeds and they plant things and beautify that walkway. And that's been an ongoing project from, I think it was about 1990 that Shirley Robotham got a group of them together, and they put in that they got fill from people that were building. I think many of them got it from the golf course buildings up there, and they put them down there, worked really hard, and we just want to say thank you to the volunteers that continue to beautify that area. And the outstanding individual volunteer, and there were many nominees this year. There was no nominees for this particular award last year, but this year we've had many of them. They're all listed in here, and the winner was Larry Stone, who is not only a key member of the Osoyoos Museum Society and helping to get that building up and running, but he also is a very strong Rotary Club member and helped with the Pioneer Walkway gazebo and building it. So he's been a great volunteer in our community. There's great pictures in here. All of the nominees are listed in here with a little write-up, so please have a look at it. because volunteers are very important in this town, and we appreciate that. I've been at on many Zoom meetings about healthcare and mayor's updates. I was on one yesterday with the resort municipality mayors. We're fortunate here that the 4 resort municipalities that are summer resorts are having an easier time than the winter ones, the ski hills. And so, but we all like to get together quite often and talk about how we can present to the Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, because we think that these are important initiatives. And I've also got a meeting with the Highway 3 Coalition, mayors and chairs, in a couple days, and we look at how we can assist the Department of Highways and make suggestions about which areas we see from Hope to the Alberta border that need help. I'm thinking that at the meeting, I may give the Department of Highways a little nudge about painting the crosswalks. Right? Because we seem to be waiting for that for quite a while. Also, we've had several meetings with the Main Street design improvements. That was one that we were at. We were at an OCP workshop. I've been on an International Lake Esuias Board of Control semi-annual meeting this week, and so it continues, and it's interesting. But one of the things that we do once a week is to have an update from Interior Health about where we're at with immunizations and clinics. And I thought at first when they said, oh, we're going to meet once a week, I thought, well, you know, that seems like a waste of time. Oh, no, it's not. We get the latest information, which helps us put things on our website. And it also, things change from week to week. The types of vaccines, the number of vaccines, the travel restrictions that are a cause of, and that's an ongoing issue, and it's not easily solved. But you know, it's we're all doing our part to sort of listen, pay attention, look after our community, look after ourselves, and please, when you have the opportunity, get your vaccine. We're only Mondays and Wednesdays starting on May 1st in Esuias. If there is a need to increase that, Interior Health said that they would look at that. But at the moment, there are only those 2 days. If we need people to be vaccinated, if you haven't had your vaccine yet, please, and if you're much younger than people who've already had it like me, then please make sure that you go online and register for it and get your name in the system. And then when there is an available time, they will call you. So we keep busy in the town of Esuias. We appreciate the fact that people are paying attention to the rules and regulations, and that they are shopping locally, using our restaurants for takeout, wonderful meals, any of the ones that I've had. And we want people to wear masks when they're outside, shop locally, and have staycations. And that was from the president of the BC Hotel Association, who has been part owner, and I'm not sure she still is, Ingrid Jarrett, but she's well known in Esuias because she was involved with Watermark for many years. And you know what, think about how you can have fun, go camping in your own backyard. I don't think that that Suiwas, Haynes Point, is going to have a lot of people from outside the area because they're not supposed to be coming. And guess what? When I was walking down there about a week ago, there were lots of Esuias residents that were camped down there. Great idea. You feel like you're getting away on a little holiday and you're really staying close to home. So thank you everybody for continuing to do your part in making sure that we keep Esuias safe and keeping all of us safe. So that's all for those reports. And now we need a motion to go in camera, please. So I need a motion that the public be excluded from the in-camera meeting pursuant to section 91 of the community charter. Part of a council meeting may be closed to the public if the subject matter being considered relates to or is one or more of the following. Number one, labor relations or other employee relations, and K, negotiations and related discussions respecting the proposed provision of the municipal service that are at their preliminary stages, and that in the view of the council could reasonably be expected to harm the interests of the municipality if they were held in public. And number two, litigation or potential litigation affecting the municipality. So could I have a motion, please, Councilor Rose, Councilor King, all in favor?